We'll do tissues today.
Okay, fine. So you have doubt in tissues. We'll do tissues today. And also for tomorrow, I would like to give you a test from complete syllabus, right? Just like a practice paper.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So hope you all attempt that practice paper and then send the
Sure.
answers.
Will it be a MCQ one or a PDF one?
No, it will be the PDF one and complete syllabus. It would stand for the complete syllabus.
Will we have MCQs or no?
Everything will be there. Just like your board exams, you have your board exams, the same pattern will be there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you'll have a total of 39 questions, out of which some 17 or 18 questions will be MCQs and so on. Just you have it for your board exams, right? So it will give you a practice for that. And if you want any paper before that for your practice, so I will provide that also. Okay, so I can provide you two papers. One for practice, I'll provide through the group, and one will be assigned in the assignment section.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so you can very well practice for your test since all of you will be having your exam starting next week, I think.
I'll have it starting next Monday,
Okay,
like this Monday, basically.
okay, so that's what I'm saying. In coming week, you all of you will be busy with your exams, so we can start up with that. Okay, so let's start with tissues chapter. See, first of all, to go into a detail of the how the tissues work. So we have Orosmith. Do you have any doubt? Orosmith, Aman, and Harini. Turn on your cameras.
Yes, yes.
So all of you can now see the screen.
Yes.
So see, in all the multicellular organisms, we observe that there is a division of labor, right? We know that a cell is capable of performing all the functions, like the nutrition, respiration, transportation, all the functions can be performed by a single cell. So what is the use of multicellular organism? In the multicellular organism, each cell does not perform all the functions for the body. Okay? Rather, each cell has a definite task. Each so that task is performed by a group of cells. Okay? There are certain groups of cells which perform a similar function. They may be identical in their structure or may not. Cells which have some different structures also, but almost they are similar in their structure, but they are together they perform a similar function. Orosmith,
Yes, sir.
am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see. So what happens? All the functions of this a single cell does not perform all the functions. Okay. A group of cells together performs functions. So we call those group of cells as tissues. Okay, so those group of cells which together perform similar function, they are called tissues. So we had the body design, how the body of multicellular organism works. It is basically the cell, or of course the body is made up of the cells. So the group of cells which perform The group of cells which perform similar functions. Okay. So generally those cells which perform similar function, they have their similar structures also. So such cells or such group of cells, we call them as tissues. Right? So in plants and in animals, we have different types of tissues. As we know that a plant cell is different in its function and structure, and animal cell is also different in its structure and function. Okay, so first of all, we will look up with the plant cells and then plant tissues, then we will look up at the animal tissues. So in the plant tissue, your tissue is divided into two types. I mean, your tissue is divided into two structures. It can be either, or a plant tissue can be divided into two forms. Either it can be a meristematic tissue or a permanent tissue. Either you can call it meristematic, you call it meristematic tissue, or we call it as a permanent tissue. Now, the meristematic tissue itself is divided under three categories. There are three types of the meristematic tissue. In plants, all the cells they do not perform their functions same. So, how is the working? First of all, understand how do they work. So, first of all, you have from a cell, a new cell is born. From an existing cell, you have the birth of a new cell. So there are two options for the new cell. That new cell, it either can divide further. This is one option. Either it can divide further or it gets differentiated. So this is it gets differentiated to form some other function. Okay. So if it gets differentiated to form some other functions, we call this as the permanent tissue. And if this cell go on for the division, if it continues to divide, then we call this to be a meristematic ones. So the group of cells which have their main function of division, cell division, their function is the growth of the plant by producing cell division, by producing more number of the cells. So such group of cells which perform this function of division of the cells, they are called as meristematic tissue. And those which get differentiated to perform other functions, they are called as the permanent tissue. Right? In the permanent tissue also you have different types, and in meristematic tissue, depending on the position where a meristematic tissue is located, so depending on the position you have three types of the meristematic tissue. Okay, so depending on the position, if the meristematic tissue is present at the tip, so we call it as apical meristem. If it is present on the sides, then we call it as the lateral meristem, and if it is present in between, then we call it as the intercalary. Okay, so these are the three types of the meristematic tissue. You have apical meristem, you have intercalary
Then lateral.
and lateral. So apical meristem, lateral is one is have lateral, or you have either you have a lateral or you have intercalary. Okay. So these are the three types of the meristematic tissue which are present in plants depending on the position where they are present. So Orosmith, what is the role of the meristematic tissue?
The growth of the plant.
Growth, cell development, or cell division. So they mainly perform the function of cell division. Okay. So when the cell division is performed, then okay. So uh, these are the only cells which have the capacity to divide. Not all the cells have the capacity to divide in plants. Okay. So for example, if you want to produce any new parts from the plant, so all the parts will not produce. Only those parts which are capable of reproduction, they can only produce new tissues and new cells. Okay. So these are meristematic tissue. In the permanent tissue, there can be two types of permanent tissue. So the permanent tissue, they can be either simple permanent or they can be complex. Either it can be simple.
Simple permanent tissue as parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma.
Yeah, very good. So simple permanent. You just need to remember the names. Once you remember the names and this chart, then you will not get confused with any of them. So simple permanent, and then you have the complex permanent. So you have your complex permanent tissue. So in the simple permanent tissue, they are which all types you have studied in simple permanent?
The parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma.
Okay, you have studied about parenchyma. Then you have collenchyma. And then you have sclerenchyma. So these are the three types of the simple permanent tissue: parenchyma, collenchyma, or sclerenchyma. So these parenchyma and collenchyma, both these tissues, they are living cells. Okay. The parenchyma and collenchyma, they are living cells. Sclerenchyma are dead cells. So out of these two, uh, will sclerenchyma contain any chloroplast?
No, sir, because it's dead.
Yeah, it's dead. So what can be the function of a dead tissue?
To like give rigidity, maybe.
Yes, providing of strength. That's the only role that left. So they are made up of dead cells, and the only function they can perform is provide support. So they can provide support. Support and strength, that is what can be provided. So in this cell, we observe that the living components are nucleus, uh, mitochondria, that is all the cell organelles. Then you also find cytoplasm, cell membrane. All these are the living components of the cell. They are called as the living components of the cell. So do you think that a collenchyma or a sclerenchyma tissue will contain any of them? Will sclerenchyma tissue contain
No,
cytoplasm?
sir. No, sir.
No. So sclerenchyma cells, they will not contain any of the cytoplasm. They will not contain any of the cell material. So what do they contain then?
So I think they have a nucleus.
They don't have nucleus, as nucleus is a living part. So they are dead.
Sir, they don't have anything other than providing the cell rigidity or
Yeah, so they don't have
that.
anything other than the cell wall. They have only thing, that's
Cellulose.
cell wall.
Are they made of cellulose?
Yeah, so they have cell wall, and at the corners of the cell wall, they have deposition of cellulose and lignin. Okay, you will observe the deposition of cellulose in sclerenchyma tissue. Now the collenchyma tissue, they are not dead cells, they are living cells. Okay, but they have, their function is providing flexibility. So collenchyma, they are living cells. and they provide rigidity to the plant. To provide rigidity.
Rigidity or flexibility?
Oh, sorry, flexibility, not rigidity. They provide flexibility. That's what I said. They provide flexibility. Rigidity is provided by the skeleton chimeras cells. Then parenchyma cells, they are living cells and their function is to perform photosynthesis. They perform photosynthesis. Some of the parenchyma cells, they also contain air in them. So they are also called as aerenchyma. Right? So the parenchyma cells, they perform photosynthesis. Perform photosynthesis. I hope you have understood this. All the three.
Yes.
Okay. So parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. These are the three types of the simple permanent tissue. In the complex permanent tissue, you have two types.
Xylem.
Orosmith, what? Okay, xylem and phloem. So see, xylem tissue and phloem tissue. Why they are called as complex tissue? Why do we call them as complex tissue?
So because they are made of more than one cell.
Yeah, they are made of more than one type of cells, and they are called as uh, complex tissue. So you have xylem tissue, and xylem tissue is made up of four types of elements. It is made up of parenchyma, that is xylem parenchyma.
Xylem fibers, tracheids, and
Okay.
vessels.
Okay. Vessels, tracheids, and
Uh, Xylem fiber.
fibers. So these are the four elements of which the xylem tissue is made up of. It's made up of xylem parenchyma, vessels,
Sir, what are
tracheids.
tracheids?
Okay, so you need to have a difference between, you need to learn the difference between tracheids and vessels. Okay. I show you how they look like, the difference between tracheids and vessels. See, the tracheids and vessels, they form transport system for transport of water. And how do they look like? See, vessels look something pipe like, they look something like this. So let this be a vessel. So this is one of these are vessels. Your tracheids, they are something like this. They are tapering at the ends. And they have the presence of pits in between them. So they will have presence of pits. Whereas vessels do not have the presence of pits. Now see how the water is transported. Through the vessels, it is transported through the column. The water transports something like this. See, the water is transported something like this from top to bottom like this. Okay, in the tracheids, in vessels. But in tracheids, what happens? The water is transported through the pits from one tracheid to the next tracheid. Okay, so it's not from end to end. In the tracheids, the water transport, it takes place through these pits which are present. So this is the difference between tracheids and vessels. You can see the vessels, they are almost cylindrical in shape, but tracheids, they are tapering at the ends. Vessels do not have any pits, but tracheids have the presence of small pits on them. So, Orosmith, can you give me the difference between tracheids and vessels? Yeah, Orosmith, can you give me the difference between tracheids and vessels?
The brackets are made of one cell, while vessels are made of more than one cell.
Just 1 minute. Fine. Okay, Orosmith, give me the differences between tracheids and vessels.
The brackets are made of one type of cell,
Mhm.
while vessels are made of group of cells.
Different types of cells.
Different types.
Okay, any other differences? Any other
Tracheids,
difference? Yes.
small and narrow, while vessels
See,
are large.
can you see the diagram? Out of the diagram, which one is the tracheids and which one is the vessel? You can see here two diagrams.
Sir,
So
first
out of
one
the
is
okay, this first one and second one. Which one is a tracheid and which one is a vessel?
a vessel.
Okay, first one is vessel.
First
So
one is
what?
a vessel, then second one tracheids.
Okay, very good. So these are vessels and these are tracheids. Vessels are cylindrical in shape. They are joined end to end. So from one end, another vessel will be joined to the other end. Whereas in the case of tracheids, they are placed side by side and water flows through the pits which are present on the tracheids. The water flows through the pits. So here you have the movement of water sideways like this. And here you have the movement of water upwards or downwards. So this was all about the xylem tissue. The xylem parenchyma, it performs the function. It provides the support. It provides the energy required for the transport of water. The fibers provide support to this tissue. And similarly, you have phloem. So phloem also is made up of four types of elements. So can you tell the different types of elements of which phloem is made up of?
Sir, companion cells,
Okay.
Phloem,
phloem,
Sieve
parenchyma,
tubes.
phloem
Tubes.
fiber,
Okay. You have companion cells, sieve
Phloem,
tubes,
parenchyma.
phloem
sieve
fiber.
tubes,
Phloem,
phloem
phloem,
fibers.
parenchyma.
phloem fibers.
And phloem, parenchyma.
Okay. You have companion cells, sieve tubes, phloem fibers, and sieve plates.
Phloem, parenchyma.
Okay. See, you have the presence of sieve plates. So these are the four structures of which your phloem tissue is made up of. And also, just remember one high order thinking skills from this point, that in the case of phloem tissue, the food is not transported because of gravity. It's not the gravity that is helping in transportation. However, it helps, but it's not the gravity only. It is an active transport. Active transport means there is involvement of energy. The food is transported with the help of energy. Okay. It's not only the gravity that is pulling it, it's the energy that is pushing food to a certain location. So I hope you have understood about all these four. Right? In the plant tissue, I think you are almost clear. We just required a quick revision about all of them. Okay. I think you have your next phase, that's your animal tissue. Yeah, Chavan, where are you running?
Sir, my device is low on charging, so I'm putting it on charge.
Okay. So, if you observe the animal tissue, what are the different types of the animal tissue? See, once you remember the names of the, once you remember the names of all the animal tissue, then you will be able to remember everything about the animal tissue. Okay. So what are the different types of you have in the animal tissue? You have first the types and then subtypes of the animal tissue. Okay. So that is what makes a confusion in your minds that what we are studying. So first of all, we will look up what are the different types, and then we will go into the subtypes of the animal. Okay, see, the very first type we have is the epithelial tissue. Okay, so can anyone tell the role of the epithelial tissue? Okay, so what is the role of the epithelial tissue? The epithelial tissue, it helps in forming the covering of the organs or of the tissues. It forms the covering of certain
There,
organs. Mhm.
it
Yes.
has squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar
Mm.
epithelium,
So,
ciliated epithelium, and glandular epithelium.
yeah, so you will find the epithelial tissue wherever you need covering of an organ. For example, the covering of the heart, the covering of the capillaries, right? So, the covering of your cells, the covering of the lungs. So, wherever covering is required for, you have a specialized tissue. Okay, that specialized tissue performs the covering of that organ, and that we have the epithelial. So, covering for the external organs as well as for the internal organs, right? So, even for the internal organs, if you see the covering for the internal organs, like I told you, for even the small intestine, as we know that small intestine is a small pipe. So in that pipe, the inner lining and the outer lining, all those are made up of the epithelial tissue. Okay. Lining of the kidney tubules, everywhere you will find the use of epithelial tissue. Okay. So the role of epithelial tissue is, the role of the epithelial tissue is to form the covering, forms covering of the organs. Okay. So whether the organ is internal or external, that covering is formed by the epithelial tissue. Even our skin is formed of the epithelial tissue, but it has, there are the different types of the epithelium. That is the stratified epithelium. So what are the different types of the epithelial tissue? The simplest form of the epithelial tissue is, which is the simplest form of the epithelial tissue? Yeah, Orosmith, which is the simplest form of epithelium?
I don't.
I don't know. Okay. So the simplest form is the squamous epithelium. You have squamous epithelial. Then after squamous epithelial, you have columnar epithelium, which are pillar-like. Then you have ciliated columnar. In some of the book, you may find the ciliated columnar and columnar under the same category, right? You have cuboidal epithelium. Then stratified epithelium. So all these, they will be used to form the outer covering of the organs. Okay. So where all do we expect the squamous epithelium to be present? The squamous epithelium, all these tissues, they are on a basement membrane. So their basement is formed, and on that basement you have a thin layer of the tissue. So the squamous epithelial, the cells are almost flat and thin. The cells are flat. That's the squamous epithelial. In the columnar epithelial, the cells are pillar-like. In ciliated columnar, they are pillar-like along with the presence of some cilia to facilitate motion. In cuboidal epithelium, the cells are almost cubical in structure. Okay, that is the length, breadth, height of the cells is almost the same. That is a cuboidal epithelium. Then you have stratified epithelial. The stratified epithelial, it helps in forming a number of layers of squamous epithelium. So stratified epithelial, it is actually formed by the squamous epithelial with a number of layers. A number of layers are involved for stratified epithelium. Got it? Understood all the types of, okay, you have one more, glandular epithelium. Which one is the glandular epithelium? The cuboidal epithelium, they are also called as glandular epithelium, as they help in, they are present at the organs which are involved in secretion of certain enzymes. Okay. So these are the different types of epithelial tissue. Then you have muscular tissue. So Orosmith, what are the different types of the muscular tissue?
Sir,
Yes.
skeletal, cardiac,
Mhm.
skeletal,
Skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and how many types of muscles tissue are there?
sir, one.
Harini, Harini, how many types of muscular tissue are there?
Sir, I think there are three types, right?
Okay. What are those three types?
Cardiac, skeletal, and smooth.
Okay. Siddhisri, what are the three types of the muscular tissue? Siddhisri? Siddhisri, what are the three types of the muscular tissue? Yeah, Siddhisri. Are you able to respond? Aman,
Yes, sir.
what are the different types of the muscular tissue?
Sir, cardiac, smooth, and
Cardiac, smooth, and very close. Very close.
skeletal tissue, yeah.
No, that's a skeletal tissue. I'm asking the types of muscular tissue. Okay. So see, you have, I hope you have studied about the
Sir, it's
striated muscles.
cardiac, smooth, and skeletal.
See, these are the three types: striated, unstriated, and cardiac, right? The striated muscles, or they are also called as stripped muscles. The unstriated muscles, they are called as smooth muscles. The striated muscles, they have the presence of strips on them. The unstriated muscles, they are also called as smooth muscles. So unstriated muscles, they are called smooth muscles, right? And the cardiac muscles are the muscles which can work continuously. So cardiac muscles, they can work continuously, right? So now I would like all of you to draw the diagram of both of these. Draw the diagram of striated muscles and unstriated muscles right now. You can take the help of your book. Take the help of your book and draw the diagram of striated muscles and unstriated muscles and show it right now. All of you. Siddhisri, are you there? She left now. Harini, Aman.
Yes,
Not
sir.
yet.
Okay, all of you draw the diagram of striated muscles and unstriated muscles or the smooth muscles. Okay, I can expect the answers, I think, within 2 to 3 minutes. Kaushik, are you drawing?
No, sir.
Why? Draw the diagram. Do you need any help regarding the diagram?
Sir, is it okay if I just look at the one in NCRT? Do I have to draw it?
No, draw it right now. I want to see all your drawings right now. Okay, you people are not sending your homework. Even if I send any of the homeworks, you people are not
We only
submitting
have
them.
to do the cardiac one, right?
No, you have to do the striated and the unstriated muscles. Okay. Draw the diagram of striated and unstriated muscles. If you want any help, you have I can present you with the diagram, but you need to draw them right now with a little bit of effort, a little bit of work will do. Okay. So I'll put you all the diagrams. You can draw any of them. These are this. See, this diagram holds both for striated and unstriated muscles. All the three are present over. Or you can check your book also. With your book also, you will be able to get that.
Sir, just show the first image.
See this one. These are the striated muscles. A very simple diagram for striated muscles. You have alternate dark and light bands present on the striated muscles. Mhm.
So can you show the unstriated one?
Okay, so the unstriated ones, they are something spindle-like. Okay, but still you can see here. Uh, hmm. So smooth muscles, you will have some spindle-like diagrams. Just one. Yeah, these are what are smooth muscles. They do not have presence of any strips. Or Smith, have you done the diagram?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just show me the diagram. Show the diagram, all of you. Are any?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, show the diagram.
Sir, actually, I cannot write because like I have a hairline fracture on my right hand.
Mhm.
Sir, can you see mine?
Okay, I'm looking for your. Yeah,
Is
very
it
good.
visible?
Yeah, you just need to decrease that band of the white one. The band of the white band is too big. They both have
Okay,
to be
sir.
equal. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anyone else who is showing? Oro Smith. Very good, Oro Smith. Okay. Yes, that's good. Okay, very good. You can keep that. Now I want all of you to draw the diagram of Aman. Aman, just show it. Aman, can you show the diagram? Yeah, label it also.
Yes, sir.
Oh. So once I will show you all the diagram of epithelial tissue also. Okay. You have mm, all the epithelial tissue, right? So just one thing, I'll show you all the epithelial tissue, and that is will be your homework to draw all the epithelial tissue. You have to draw all the epithelial tissue. That is a part of your homework. See, so in this diagram, you have all the epithelial tissue. In the simple squamous epithelium, the cells are flat. In simple cuboidal, the length, breadth, and height they are almost similar. Then you have simple columnar where the cells are pillar-like. Then you have stratified squamous where a layer of squamous tissue have been placed one above the other. Then after that you have a pseudo stratified. So you don't have to study about the pseudo stratified and transitional. You just have to study these. In these only in columnar ones you have one more, that is in columnar you have one more, that will be your ciliated columnar. So another thing what you need to know about all of them, about all these. Along with the diagram, there is one more thing that you need to know about all this about all these epithelial tissue is that where they are found in the body. Okay. So one by one will tell you that which tissue or which epithelial tissue will be found over where? So where do we find the simple squamous? Where can we find the simple squamous tissue?
Sir, our skin.
No,
To
our
protect
skin
the
is made of,
skin.
our skin is stratified squamous, not simple squamous.
Oh, sir, then kidneys, lungs.
Yeah, kidney line, the lining of the kidney tubules, the lining of the lungs, we have the presence of simple squamous. Okay. Where do we find the simple cuboidal?
Sir, pancreas.
Pancreas. Okay.
Pan
What is
Sir,
the function?
sir,
Yes.
is it the kidney tubules and salivary glands?
Kidney tubules and salivary glands.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Of course, they are present in the salivary glands. So wherever the secretions are required, over there you have the presence of the simple cuboidal. Where do you find the columnar tissue?
gallbladder,
Gallbladder.
stomach.
Not stomach, the small lining of the small intestine.
Intestines.
Okay. The lining of the intestine, we have the presence of columnar epithelium. So that the nutrients can be absorbed. So these were the two: epithelial tissue, muscular tissue. Then you have the connective tissue. So you will have connective tissue. And in the connective tissue is a type of tissue which is used to connect one organ or one tissue with the other. Okay. So what are the different types of the connective tissue?
The areolar,
Mhm.
adipose, tendons, and ligaments.
Okay, so you have a loose connective tissue and dense connective tissue. In the loose connective tissue, you will find a number of types, like the areolar tissue, adipose tissue, blood. In the dense connective tissue, you will find tendons, ligaments, and bone. Okay. So out of these tissues, where do you find the bone? Bone is found under the connective tissue. Okay. So bone is a type of connective tissue. And what is blood?
So it is also connective tissue.
Blood is also a connective tissue. It is a fluid connective tissue. Okay. It is a part of loose connective tissue. Then you have nervous tissue. Any other tissue that is left off?
No, sir.
So mainly now in the next class, we will be discussing about the connective tissue. So in the next class, we will discuss that how many connective tissue are present, okay, and their functions. In the nervous tissue, the role of the nervous tissue is made up of the nerve cells, right? And the function of the nerve cells is to transmit messages or information from one place to another. So nervous tissue, it also forms the structure which help to transport the messages from in our body from one part of the body to the other part of the body. So in the nervous tissue, you have to study the diagram of a nerve cell. Also, the nerve cells, they are the longest cell in the human body. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we'll see you again in the next class. I hope we have done. Any doubts in today's class?
No, sir.
No, that's
No
so
doubts.
can you post this PPT in Google? I mean WhatsApp.
Yeah, in the WhatsApp, you will get this PPT, and along with this, you will also get one question paper. So you
Okay,
can
sir.
practice that. You can practice that question paper. Maybe if possible, I'll also send you the solutions. Right?
Sir, I
Okay.
might not be able to give a Saturday, Sunday's test because I have to prepare for finals.
So for that's a preparation also. Once you prepare for your test, write the test and give it.
Yes, okay, I'll
Okay.
try.
So anyone any doubt? Oro Smith, Aman.
No, sir.
Okay. So bye everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.